What's up, everybody? It's your favorite face changing's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at Marvel Legends Spider-Man Wave Part 2, where we'll close out the wave and take a look at each one. So no need to dilly-dally. Let's go. So first up is Chameleon. I think this character is pretty well sought after, or at least been in high demand for quite some time. He's on the Agent Coulson body, and it suffers the same issues, which is standing. So let's show. But what he lacks in the ability to stand, he makes up for with accessories, which he has a slew of, and Ghost Rider didn't get any, which is kind of unfortunate. But he comes with this laser pistol, which is goofy, but it's there, single cast, not like a paint, and I don't really feel like it's accurate for the character either. He also comes with this laser rifle, which I don't know if my recollection of Chameleon is more that he was like a gangster, like you know, like this seems appropriate. It's like a Thompson submachine gun without the barrel drum or whatever, but like this seems appropriate for the character, and not so much this. This doesn't really make sense to me, and I'm not sure why they gave him 3 guns, no holster, and didn't give Ghost Rider anything. But this black one is also a single cast, but they did bother to put some red paint in there, so I commend them for that. That's not typically par for the course, and they never do it with their Transformer stuff, so cheers to them for that. And then the Thompson machine gun, they painted the brown on there, and they could have done without painting this, because I don't really think that that's accurate. I could be wrong, but definitely the stock and the forward grip here. So that's cool, and this is a cool looking accessory. He'll definitely be having that on my shelf. He also comes with the gimmick of the head change. So we'll talk about each one as we go. First of all, the articulation there is on a ball hinge, which we've seen before. But he comes with the J. Jonah Jameson head, which is a great sculpt. I think the character really comes through. I love the mouth sculpt on it. The hair is all well done. The painting on the eyes and everything is really well done. Mouth, teeth, all painted. So that was good. That's a good accessory. And then this guy, Flat Top, I can't remember. I think I get him confused with the DC villain. I mean, not the DC villain, the Dick Tracy villain. I know it is just it's not coming to me at the moment. But it's a fairly decent job on here too. Some of the black paint didn't get on there like it needed to, but that could be touched up and put in service. But otherwise, it's a good face sculpt and everything, and they did a good job painting the eyes and so forth. So that's fine. And then the actual Chameleon face, which is actually washed with like a blue, which looks good. The eyes are painted well, and the teeth are painted yellow, and it looks really good. I think I gotta go. It's tempting to get another one to have a J. Jonah Jameson. If he stood, I probably would, but we'll get to that. And let's see. So we talked about that. The suit jacket is it's like a soft plastic, and it's just on the figure, and then it's kept on by the arms. So that works fairly well. Articulation's pretty limited by the sculpt of the suit jacket shoulder. But it is sculpted well, and I don't know. I'm not crazy about this mold. I do like the tie, which is a soft plastic and hangs down. And then ab crunch, you get 1 click forward 1, and 1 click forward back, and 1 click forward back. Listen to me, but that's it. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow works fine, and then wrist swivel and hinge. Both will work nice. He also has 2 like holding hands. One's like a sword or knife holding hand, and one's a trigger finger hand. But they both will do the job for holding all of his guns, or at least 2 of them. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the third one. Belt is painted well. Glossy finish on the leathery belt, which looks good. And T-jointed ball joints for hips that get you out to there, get you forward to there. Not really so much back, but that's okay given the situation. The right. Okay, I'm not sure if I noticed this with Coulson, but like this R and L, this is for when they're assembling the figure and they know which is right and which is left. What they usually do is they put it inside here, inside the knee joint, so you don't see it, but it's definitely visible here. I'm not sure why I haven't noticed it before, but it's certainly bothering me now. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee. The sculpt pretty much gets destroyed. It's pretty ugly, but it is there. And foot tilt and rocker, and the foot tilt is extremely limited, but let's see if that doesn't help. There, that's better. Okay, that's better. It does go forward, but there's molding issues. Okay, let me point it out to you. Using my Warbitron screwdriver. So there's a piece of flash here which stops this foot from wanting to go all the way up. So I'll just shave that down and I'll be able to get it up, and then he, so to speak, and then he should stand. Oh, he stands much better there. Okay, so it's still funny. I'm leaving that joke in. Same on the other side. And that the only other issue is that to put him in more of a dynamic pose, you're always going to have these suit pants sculpted like this, but it's kind of the cost of doing business, and there is a nice glossy finish on the shoes, so I'm okay with it. This is nothing really to write home about. It's an odd choice, I think, but it does kind of work, and then the heads kind of really add to it. So all in all, I'd say it will do. Next up is Superior Venom. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know a lot about this character, but this was the one I was unsure about getting. And since there was only one I was unsure about getting, I figured it was worth getting. It was like paying $20 for the Build-A-Figure, which I love. So it was all worth it for me. Definitely not my favorite design for Venom. My favorite design for Venom is definitely the more traditional, so to speak. But let's take a look at him because he's not bad. He comes with these things. They're not articulated. I wish they were. They do have specified plugins, so there's only, they'll only fit, like they're supposed to go like this, which I'm not sure I like either. I think I would have liked having the freedom to put them, like I would have liked to have the big ones up top, the long ones up top, and then these kind of coming down and curling around them, just for the look of it, and that may not be accurate. Like I said, I don't know much about them. So, head sculpt, yeah, it's good. I'm familiar with the way the character looks, and it looks appropriate. The lines are all crazy on him like they are here, and the paint is really well done. The lines are screwed up. I saw somebody make a joke in that Marvel Legends community group or whatever it is, that which is a good group, that it was playing to Hasbro's strengths, which I thought was really funny. But it's all a mess, but it's sharp, it's well done, it's appropriate. It does get a little bit crunchy down there and then down there, but overall, pretty well done, I must say. So the head is on a ball hinge, as we're fairly familiar with at this point. These don't move like we've talked about. Butterfly joint at the shoulder, and the paint does continue through, which is nice. It goes all the way around to that angle, so you can get his arm all the way back there without destroying the paint, which is really, really quite good. It doesn't do it here, though, which is obnoxious, but you won't be looking at the back of the figure, theoretically, anyway, so if they were going to cut a corner, I would prefer it to be there. Outside of that, the ball hinge, let me just take these off. This is going to annoy me while I'm trying to talk about this guy. So the ball hinge is fairly limited, but it does get you, and mine is really stuck at the moment. Let's see if I can't finagle that a little bit. You might need some warm water, which we're going to talk about here shortly. But it does articulate. It's on a ratchet, and the ratchet is hard enough where, there it is. There it is. It's hard enough where it moves the butterfly joint, so that's kind of frustrating, but it is possible. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, red splotch of paint there, which I'm guessing happened when they tried to paint this diamond, which actually does look good in all fairness. Double jointed elbow works well. Wrist swivel and hinge, and it's a good choice of hands as well on both. Same on the other side, articulation wise. Ab crunch gets you 2 clicks forward, 1 click back, so that's good to go. Waist swivel's intact. T-jointed ball joints for hips that work fairly well. Thigh swivel. Knee is double jointed. That looks pretty good. And then the feet are from something else. I can't tell you what it is, but I know it doesn't belong to this body. But it works fairly well, and it gives them a wider base to stand, which is nice because of all the weight of these things. Articulation-wise, you get the tilt forward and backward to good degrees, and then the rocker is built in. And all in all, that's all there is to him. He's done fairly well, I must say. And now you can see clearly all the different shapes, so you can see how they plug in. White Tiger. And we won't be doing a skit today. Instead, we're going to show you how to do something else. If you missed my blow dryer tutorial to warp plastic, it's in the Boba Fett review, the Polaris Kai Boba Fett review, so feel free to look at that, and I'll show you how that's done. Today we're going to look at warm water and hope that that fixes our elbow issue here, which we'll talk about. So, hair is glued in, so it's pretty much stuck in place, but it is sculpted well. There's a little bit of flash up in there, but that can be easily cut away with an X-Acto knife or something. Eyes are painted well. Sculpt for the head is simple, but it is good. I think this would have benefited from a really light wash, you know, but then it maybe wouldn't have looked as white as you would like it. So I'm not sure. I think it's not a hateful choice either way. This soft necklace thing is obnoxious. It doesn't really do what it's supposed to do most of the time, and it doesn't look natural because of stuff like the way that the soft plastic warps around the neck. It doesn't look like it has weight, so it looks cheap. If it was sculpted on, it would obviously be better, but it's not. Ball hinge neck, getting you a good rotation for the head, so no problems there. Ball hinge shoulders, standard issue, no problems there. Elbows, we're going to talk about here in a minute. Wrist swivel and hinge, and good choice of hand molds, very White Tiger-esque. Ball jointed abdomen, works fairly well. Not my favorite chest sculpt, as you know, but it does fit this character, and I like the fact that not all of the breasts need to be, you know, huge. Not that I don't like huge breasts. Trust me, that's not the case. But it does break up, you know, the molds on your shelf. It gives it some variation, which is nice. The tiger stripes are all painted really, really well. You've got this one here that only lines up there, like if the arm is straight out, which I think is a bizarre choice. I'm not sure if you can see that. It seems like if you were going to do this, you would have it line up here, you know, or maybe 1 click out or something. I don't know. It's very strange, and it's the same way on here. Like this one, you can see it even better. Like where that line is, that's where it lines up. So you'd have to have her arm out like this in order for that to match. Now that's not going to annoy everyone, but it certainly annoys me. But they're done well on the waist and the hips. T-jointed ball joints for hips, but when you have the legs out to the side, the joints are very obvious. May not bother some, does kind of irritate me, but it's easy to get around. You know, you just got to pose her right. Thigh swivel, black serial code there, which is a terrible choice. Double jointed knee works just fine. Boot swivel, which is stupid, and then a ankle tilt that gets you way forward. And way back, and then the rocker is built in, no problem. And let's take a look at these elbows. Okay, so what I have here is some hot water, and I'm going to put her arms like this and then submerge both arms. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because the elbows, like this plastic is heated and then it's cooled, and that's what causes it to take the position it took. The elbows are stuck. Now, I would try to force it under normal circumstances, but I forced Spider-Woman, the burgundy one, I believe, and I snapped the elbow joint. So I don't want to do that with this one, so I'm going to show you another method, like I showed the blow dryer method to straighten plastic. This will loosen up plastic. This is good for customs and stuff because you can take the pins out, like you can see at the knees here. You can take the pins out that way and, you know, paint it or sand it down or whatever you got to do. So that's all good stuff, but this is, we're just going to use it for the sake of loosening this joint, and it shouldn't take too terribly long. We're just going to give it a go. I don't know, this is like my painting mug, but it will work just fine. So the water is just hot. It's not boiled or anything. It's just hot out of the faucet, and and we're going to see if we can. It shouldn't take too terribly long, but this should make the plastic pliable enough where I can loosen up the joint, and then it shouldn't be an issue. Let's see if we got it already. Yep, good to go. So now that that is loose, we're just going to open it and close it a few times. We'll do the same to the other. It cools very quickly. Now, in the future, this shouldn't be a problem. Like it should be loosened up now. Like this whatever made it seal initially, you know, which looks like might even be some flash issues. That problem should be solved now. And lastly, we're going to look at Kraven the Hunter. So we'll take out his accessory, which is really well done. A little warped. We can fix that with a hair dryer from the Boba Fett review, but it is fine. The wood grain is sculpted in, and then the feathers are all sculpted, painted, and dry brushed. The beads here are attempted to be painted. They do get carried away, but the effort is there, and then the tip of it is painted as well, so to speak. And it's really a well done accessory, and it makes sense, and his hands come equipped to hold it. So all in all, good across the board. We're off to a good start already. So the head, well sculpted. The skin tone is a little plain, but it's a well sculpted head. The mustache is all sculpted and painted, and so is the goatee. Actually, I don't think that's. I don't know. There's specific rules about what is and what isn't a goatee. I may be off about that, but whatever that is, that chin beard, it's good. The sideburns are not sculpted. It would have helped if they were. Ball jointed hinged head on neck, so articulation is good to go. Soft piece of floating plastic for the necklace, which is painted and fairly well done. Once again, would have looked better if it was sculpted, but not a deal breaker. This is a soft piece of plastic, this lion's mane thing, and it's painted, it's dry brush, the nose is painted, there's effort and care in here, and I like it, and it sits well on him. Which isn't always the case when they put this soft plastic stuff as clothing over top of the mold. But all in all, it's fairly well done. No real complaints. I think this is the Grim Reaper body. The shoulders are not the best in terms of articulation, but they will get you everything you need. This one might need some hot water too. Bicep swivel. The bands are just painted on, but they are at least painted well. I got a scuff there, but that's not really their fault. And double jointed elbows, and then the forearms are a nightmare, and we'll talk about why. What they should have done is, this is brown plastic with the flesh painted. Now what's bizarre is that if you've ever painted anything, to get this paint in here done clean for the flesh as a lighter color is going to be more difficult than painting the darker color on top. But they didn't care. They chose to go brown plastic and then paint the skin tone every which way underneath, and it comes off very sloppy on an otherwise well done figure, which is disappointing. And they did the same thing for the hand, but that's not done as poorly. Same for the other side. This one works a bit better, even though the flesh tones don't exactly match. It works a bit better because there's no holes in the bandages that are sculpted like there are here. So that's the issue there. Belt is soft floating piece, works just fine. Would have benefited from a coat of wash on this fabric here. Same on the back, but not a deal breaker. The pouches are all sculpted really well, and the buckle's painted, which is nice. T-jointed ball joints for hips, good range of motion on both ways, and thigh swivel. Double jointed knee. This is another one of my small issues. I'm not sure if it would have been possible, but in a perfect world, I would have liked the skull to be on this knee, so it would have hid that better. But it's not a deal breaker, and I'm being picky, admittedly, but it is somewhat bothersome to me. And also, these two pieces of brown are different, which seems very bizarre. Or maybe it's just the lighting. It might be just the lighting. I don't know. Let's see. Down in here, we have this all dry brush, the fur on the boots. And that looks really good, I must say. And I'm trying to think. I think that this piece of, yeah, okay, so this is interesting. This piece of plastic here is based in this color. It's cast in this color, but they painted the brown on. The brown is done really well. So that's cool. That's how it looks anyway, because if you look at the bottom of the boot, you can see that base color. That's the way it looks to me anyway. Either way, you can't tell. And on the hinge on the back, they painted. So maybe the brown is painted because they would have just painted across. But it's done so well that I can't tell, and that is a good thing. That is yeah, the brown is painted. It's the darker brown that was painted. So I was initially wrong by looking at it, but that's how well done the job was done. Where it took me a minute to even figure it out. The skulls are all in this brown color, so they didn't waste paint there, and then they just dry brushed it, probably with the same color that they've used in other places. And anyway, it's a good result. Bandages are all sculpted. It would have helped if they were painted, but you know, in some cases maybe it wouldn't have helped. And then let's see, we got a little bit of a shin rocker, which is stupid. And then we have, but I'm guessing that this was for sculpt purposes, so it might all work out. And then hinge forward, backward, and the rocker built in, so no complaints there. This is a good figure. A couple minor issues, but this is a really good figure. All in all, I must say this is one of the best Marvel Legends waves I've ever purchased. I am extremely happy with the way that these figures turned out. They're not perfect, they're not without their issues, but there is some really, really promising, good-looking stuff going on with this wave, and I'm happy. So I think you're going to just have to let me be happy. With these four in particular, the issues to look out for: watch the stiffness with White Tiger's joints. They will snap on you, I guarantee it. I'm speaking from experience. Use the hot water, loosen her up, so to speak, and get the job done. Superior Spider-Man has those wonky shoulder joints where the butterfly joint is too loose in comparison to the really hard shoulder joints, so you end up manipulating one when you mean to manipulate the other, and it can be a bit of a mess. Chameleon has some accessory issues, and mine has that foot problem, but I can fix that myself, so I won't ding that one too hard. And then there's a couple minor paint issues with Kraven that could have been easily avoided, which is more frustrating than problematic because it does look okay on a shelf. So I can't recommend them enough. Go for it if you were considering it. If you weren't considering it and you're a Marvel fan, you're missing out with this wave. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.